You do not wake in your own bed tonight. You wake in dust. The air is dry, not just dry like a desert, but dry like memory. Something ancient clings to your breath. The ground is cracked, the silence thick. And the sky? The sky is the color of old copper, burnt, brittle, tired of watching. You are not in the year you came from. There are no roads, no lights, no hum of machines. Only sandals, only shadows, only eyes that do not trust you. Somewhere nearby, a man sharpens a blade made of bronze. Not for you, not yet. A child watches you like you're a ghost. Maybe you are. This is Persia. The year is 1300, and you have been dropped into the middle of someone else's life. No warning, no help, no language, just dust in your throat and the sun in your face, and the slow dawning realization that you may not survive until morning. Take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see where you are. You're lying flat on your back beneath an open sky that looks like it hasn't rained in a century. Your mouth is dry. Your blanket is straw. The smell is sharp. Old sweat, warm goat, distant smoke. You sit up, blinking at a world that does not blink back. Welcome to your new reality, a mud brick village lost between time and geography, where the roof leaks, the bread bites back, and the flies show no fear. Your feet hit the ground, dry, cracked earth with just enough heat to remind you it hasn't forgiven summer yet. No sandals, just skin and calluses, which you didn't have yesterday, but somehow do now. You hear voices, hushed, impatient, musical in a language you almost recognize. You do not understand, but you know the tone. Hurry. A child rushes past, carrying water. You blink again. Wait, was that your job? The sun is not your friend. It rises quickly, angrily, as if insulted by your sleep. There is no shade, just heat and more heat. You step outside and feel your skin tighten, as if the air is trying to shrink wrap you. Your tunic clings with the scent of last week. You'd change clothes, but this is all you have. It's rough linen, beige. It was white once, maybe, before history happened to it. Your stomach growls, but breakfast is aspirational. A crust of barley bread, if you're lucky. You chew. It's hard enough to file your teeth. You do not complain. Here, complaints are luxury. Bread is survival. Someone gestures. You follow. You dig. That's your task now. A shovel is placed in your hand, not kindly, just efficiently. You join a line of people moving earth for reasons no one explains. Maybe it's irrigation, maybe it's punishment, maybe it's just what people do when there's no empire left to believe in. The ill-Khanid rulers, descendants of Genghis Khan, still sit on thrones somewhere far away. But here in the village, thrones are imaginary. You serve taxes, not kings. Dust, not glory. Your arms ache. Your shoulders burn. You are not strong, not yet. The man next to you nods, in sympathy or mockery. You can't tell. You nod back. It's what people do. The day stretches. Time here does not move in minutes. It moves in tasks. You haul water from a well that may or may not be cursed. You swat flies that refuse to be swatted. You hear a flute, distant, haunting, and wonder if that's what hope sounds like in 1300. Lunch is more bread. This one tastes like yesterday's regrets. You eat it anyway. A goat stares at you as you chew. It judges you deeply. As the sun lowers, the world doesn't cool, it simply dims. Smoke curls from clay ovens. Children shout in the distance. Someone prays. You sit by a wall, your back stiff, your hands raw, your eyes half closed, and for a moment you feel peace. Until someone reminds you the latrine still needs emptying. You sigh. Welcome to Public Service, 1300 edition. That night, you lie down again on the straw that pretends to be a bed. It scratches, it squeaks, it smells like the goat. You close your eyes anyway. You think, what if no one ever comes back for me? What if this is it? But you are too tired to finish the thought. The stars look down, silent. The world breathes quietly. And you drift. Somewhere between exhaustion and dreaming, you remember who you used to be and forget again. But that is a story for tomorrow night. You wake before light, not because you mean to, but because the city stirs before you do. Somewhere, a bucket clatters against stone. Someone coughs into the thick air, sharp and familiar. A rooster you've never seen but already hate announces himself like a royal decree. Your back protests as you sit up. The straw beneath you has flattened in the night, and your body feels borrowed, sore in new places, foreign in others. You're not in the village anymore, that much you remember. A cart came in the night, drawn by something with hooves and patience. No one explained. You climbed in because the alternative was staying. Now you're here, in a city you don't know, on a room above someone else's shop, on a mat that isn't yours, with a rat that refuses to acknowledge your right to exist. Outside, the sky hasn't brightened yet, but the air is already full, with the rustle of fabric, the mumble of prayer, the low hiss of smoke curling around damp wood. Somewhere, a market is waking. The stairs creak beneath you as you descend. The shopkeeper grunts at your presence, then nods toward a bowl of lentils and bread so hard it could be weaponized. You eat anyway. Hunger is more persuasive than taste. You chew slowly, carefully. A tooth aches. You ignore it. It won't be the worst pain you feel today. The street outside is narrower than it looks. Your shoulder brushes a wall before you remember to shrink yourself. The ground is slick in places, dry in others. A boy runs past, arms full of something wrapped in cloth. You don't look too closely. You've learned quickly. Here, curiosity isn't free. You follow the stream of people until it breaks apart into a wide, winding artery lined with stalls and voices. You have no map, only instinct. And instinct, today, smells like dye. A man catches your arm. He doesn't ask, just points. You're led behind a stall stacked with bundles of cloth, reds so deep they look black, blues that shimmer like oil. The air burns slightly in your lungs. You're told to sit, told to crush, told nothing else. A bowl is placed before you. Dried roots, leaves. Some are green, some are brittle and red. A stone pestle waits. You begin. The rhythm comes slowly. Press, twist, release. Your hands stain quickly. Brown, green, something inky and unfamiliar. The dust rises. It clings to your throat. You cough into your sleeve. No one reacts. Your eyes water. You blink through it. The woman beside you doesn't speak. She only nods once, then goes back to her own bowl. Her hands are a different color than yours, deeper, older. She's done this longer. Hours pass, though there's no clock to say so, only the slant of light shifting on the ground and the ache that spreads up your arms like vines. A tray appears, bread again, a slice of dried fig, water barely cool. You eat slowly, sitting in the shade of a wall that offers no comfort, only less brightness. A child watches you, not with wonder, with calculation, as if trying to decide whether you are useful, dangerous, or just in the way. When the work ends, no one says so. People simply stop. They rise, stretch, disappear into the folds of the alley. You're left, blinking, holding a bowl of crushed purple leaves and wondering if they were poisonous. The thought comes late. You wander, not far, just enough to lose your sense of direction and pride. A man sells fish from a slab of stone. Flies claim them faster than customers. A woman dips thread into a basin of red so thick it looks like melted brick. Children shout over something that might be a game or might be politics. You can't tell anymore. By nightfall, you find your way back to the shop. The same rat greets you with the flick of its tail and a complete lack of respect. You lie on the mat and close your eyes before your body realizes it's allowed. Your hands burn. Your knees ache. Your mouth tastes of mint and something metallic. Above you, through a crack in the shutter, the stars peer in. Quiet. Unimpressed. You wonder how long you could do this. You wonder how long anyone does this. You wonder if the stars are the same ones that watched you in your own time. You hope not. You don't want to be recognized. You sleep, eventually. Not peacefully, not deeply. Just long enough to forget your name again. But that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake to rain. Not a storm, not a downpour. Just the soft, uneven tapping of droplets on clay and wood, as if the sky is remembering how to cry. At first, you're not sure it's real. You've grown used to dryness, to air that scratches, to skin that cracks, to a thirst that settles in your chest and refuses to leave. But this is water. Real. Cold. Slipping through the cracked wooden shutter and falling onto your foot, like a blessing that missed its mark. You sit up slowly. The rat is gone this morning. A small win. The city sounds different in the rain. Softer. The usual clang and shout has dulled to a mutter. You can hear sandals against wet stone, the slosh of water being swept from doorways, the occasional complaint to the heavens. You look out through the shutter. The street is slick, shining. The dust has turned to mud, and the mud to a problem. You move carefully down the stairs, trying not to fall. The shopkeeper barely glances at you. A chunk of bread, damp around the edges, waits on a plate. You eat it without comment. Your hands still smell faintly of crushed roots and damp wool. A new task finds you today. No explanation, just a gesture, a name barked through the rain, and the expectation that you'll follow. You do. You're led to the edge of the market district, near a small square with uneven flagstones and a fountain that no longer flows. The walls here are streaked with old dye. The colors bled down like bruises on plaster. You're taken through a narrow arch. into a courtyard where cloth hangs overhead like a canopy of faded ghosts. There are dye vats, great sunken bowls of color, some steaming, some still. The smell hits you immediately. Not just the plants, but the lye, the urine, the rot. It's sharp, sour, unavoidable. Someone hands you a pole, another gestures to the vat. You stir. The cloth inside is heavy, uncooperative, eager to wrap itself around your arms like it's drowning. You lean back, pull, stir again. Your hands are stained in minutes. The color clings. You don't know what it is. Indigo, maybe. Or what used to be indigo before time had its way with it. You stir for hours. The heat rises despite the rain. Steam curls around your face. The air tastes like earth and vinegar. Your arms tremble, but you don't stop. You've learned that pausing only invites more attention, and attention rarely helps. During a break, you sit near the corner of the courtyard, on a stone worn smooth by centuries of tired people. A boy offers you a fig, not out of kindness, just because he has two and neither are ripe. You eat it anyway. The seeds crunch between your teeth like tiny lies. The workers around you speak quickly but softly. You catch pieces of things. A merchant cheated. A husband vanished. A rumor that a Mongol inspector is coming. You pretend not to listen. You're good at that now. A woman passes with a basket full of dyed fabric. She glances at your face, pauses, then nods slightly. The first human moment of the day. It feels like a thread. Small, fragile, but something. As evening approaches, the rain stops. The air thickens. Your tunic sticks to your back. The dye on your arms has dried into a mosaic of purples and greenish black. You smell like chemicals and old leaves. No one tells you to go. You just stop stirring when the others do. You walk home slowly, through alleys that feel tighter now, like the city is closing around you. A cat darts across your path. A man mutters at a pile of broken crates. A child watches you from behind a curtain, eyes wide and still. Back in your room, the rat has returned. It sits by the wall, grooming itself, unimpressed with your long day. You collapse onto the mat without undressing. There's nothing to change into. The cloth sticks to your skin, cold and damp, but it doesn't matter. You stare at the ceiling. A droplet of water clings to a beam above you. You watch it grow, heavy, wait for it to fall. You wonder if anyone will remember you tomorrow. You wonder if you'll remember yourself. The droplet finally falls. You don't move. Sleep finds you like the rain did, slowly, quietly, and a little too late. But that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake in the dark this time. Not morning dark, not dawn. Real dark. The kind that feels thick, like a wool blanket soaked in silence. No rooster, no market noise, no clatter from the shop below. Just you and the steady beat of your own heart. You're not sure what stirred you. A sound? A breath? A presence just outside the edge of dreaming? You sit up slowly, the mat creaking beneath you. The rat is gone, but the room still smells like its memory. You wait, still, listening. Then you hear it. Not from within, but outside. Footsteps. Quiet. Purposeful. Not the quick slap of a child running. Not the clumsy drag of a drunk. Measured. Sandaled. Soft. You move to the shutter and peek through. The alley glows with the faint blue of pre-dawn. Someone passes beneath, a figure, robed.
carrying something slung over their shoulder. A satchel? A tool? You can't tell. They don't look up. They disappear around a corner, and the silence folds itself back around the street like a blanket being tucked in. You lie back, uncertain if it mattered, but something has changed. You can feel it. Later, hours later, after the sun rises, after the world begins again, you descend into the shop expecting the usual gesture, the crust of bread, the unspeaking nod toward labor. But this time, something different happens. The shopkeeper gestures to your hands, then to your face, then toward the alley. You're being sent somewhere else. No reason, no explanation, just motion and obedience. You follow the direction. The air is bright but cool, a rare softness in the heat-strangled city. The path takes you through streets you haven't seen before, past a small garden where herbs grow in ceramic shards, past a wall painted with animals long faded into suggestion, past a courtyard where a man in ink-stained robes stares at a scroll as if it might confess a crime. Finally, you arrive at a low building with a round doorway and carved symbols you can't read. A woman stands inside, arranging bundles of herbs on a wooden board. She doesn't look at you, just points to a low stool and to a pile of fresh roots waiting to be sorted. You sit. You begin. The work is gentle, in a way, washing, cutting, laying things out to dry. You don't speak, neither does she. But there is a rhythm here, simplicity. Everything has its place. From time to time others enter, old men with walking sticks, a child with a bandaged hand, a girl carrying a bird cage with no bird. The woman gives each of them something, a cloth, a powder, a jar of something that smells like burnt honey. You watch, and you listen. You learn a word, dard, pain. You hear it more than once. Another word, chosh, good. That one is rarer. By midday, the sun rises higher, and she finally looks at you. Her eyes are lined, sharp, but not unkind. She nods, then hands you a wrapped bundle, crushed dried leaves inside a waxed cloth. You nod back. No one tells you what it is. You don't need to know. You've learned how to carry things without questions. You take it across the city. The route is longer than you expected. You pass under bridges and through cloth-draped alleys, past a shrine where someone sings off-key to a god you don't know. Eventually, you reach a door and knock. A man opens it, silent, searching your face for something he doesn't find. You hand him the bundle. He doesn't thank you, just closes the door. You stand there for a moment, alone, hands empty, unsure if you just delivered healing or poison. Then you turn back. The city feels different now, not smaller, but softer on the edges, less threatening. Not because it's safer, just because you're not as fragile. You find your way back with ease. You're starting to remember the turns. You know which dogs bark and which don't, which doors are painted, which stones are loose beneath your feet. At the shop, the bread is waiting. Still dry, still small, but not nothing. You eat slowly. You wash your hands. You climb the stairs. The mat greets you with its usual indifference. You lie down. Tonight you don't dream of home. You dream of doors, of walking through them, of being sent, of returning. You dream of the city breathing with you, and somewhere in that breath, you sleep. But that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake with a sense that something is missing. Not a sound, not a person, not even a memory. Just a feeling, like a thread that slipped through your fingers while you slept. You lie still, staring at the wooden ceiling above you. A crack runs across one of the beams. You don't remember noticing it before. It looks like a vein or a path. The rat is there again, crouched in the corner, chewing something unrecognizable and unbothered by your attention. You don't move. You just watch each other for a moment. You're not enemies, not quite friends, just two creatures that woke up in the same room again. Downstairs, the shopkeeper doesn't even look up. The crust he offers is stale, the water warm. It doesn't matter. You eat because that's what morning is. Hunger is no longer a question. It's a rhythm, like walking, like waiting. You're sent without a word, a familiar nod, a familiar path, but not a familiar place. Today you walk longer, past the apothecary, past the dye yards, past the square where the children play with knotted rope and stones, past a man playing a flute for no one, past a woman sweeping dust off a step with a branch. You arrive at a garden. Not a lush one, not royal, but carefully kept, quiet, walled in by clay bricks that lean a little. Inside are beds of herbs and low trees with leaves that tremble in the breeze. The air smells green, alive. Someone hands you a basket and points to a patch of plants with small purple flowers. You kneel and begin. You don't ask questions. You never do now. You simply follow the work. You pinch the stems low, collect them in the basket, and lay them gently to avoid crushing the petals. Bees drift near you, but none sting. The sun is warm, not cruel. For once, you aren't sweating through your clothes. You're just there. Hours pass, and you realize no one's watching you. No one checks your work. No one rushes you. You're trusted or ignored. Either way, it feels like breathing after holding your breath too long. You sit beside a bed of mint and crush a leaf between your fingers. It smells sharp and clean, like something meant to wake you. You press it to your nose and close your eyes. And in the stillness, you remember. Not everything, not your name, not the date, not the machine or accident or magic that brought you here, but something smaller. A face, a window, the sound of rain on glass, a life from before flickering for just a second behind your eyelids, then gone again, gentle as the breeze that moves the mint leaves. When you open your eyes, the sun has shifted. Someone brings a clay cup of something sweet, a tea, warm and thin, with a taste you don't know how to describe. You drink it slowly. No one speaks. You don't mind. You carry the full baskets into a shaded room with drying racks. Lay the herbs flat, stack the stems, hang bundles from string. A woman with white streaks in her hair nods at your arrangement. You nod back. It's enough. Later, on your way back through the city, you pass a procession. 5 men in dark robes, walking slowly behind a donkey that carries something wrapped in cloth. A small group follows. No one wails. No one speaks. The silence moves with them, and the crowd parts without being asked. You don't know who died. You don't ask. But something in your chest folds in quietly, as if to make room. That night in your room, you wash your hands. You can still smell the mint. The clay cup from earlier sits near your mat. Someone brought it back up, or
Maybe you did and forgot. You lie down. The air is cool. The breeze outside is real and kind. Your limbs ache in a slow, patient way, like they've done something worth aching for. You look at the ceiling again, at the crack in the beam. It still looks like a path. You think maybe you're walking it, but that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake not because the sun touches you, but because the silence is wrong. It's not the usual quiet, not the soft hum of morning, not the hush of a city holding its breath, but a silence that feels like the air is listening for something. You sit up slowly. The mat creaks beneath you. The rat is gone again, or hiding. You touch your fingers to your face, expecting to feel the dampness of sweat or the sting of another restless dream, but instead there's only stillness. You can hear your own breath too clearly. You make your way down the stairs. The shopkeeper is already at the doorway, peering into the street with a frown that deepens when he sees you. He says nothing, but hands you a cloth to wrap around your head. Dust, maybe, or something worse. Outside, the light is dim despite the hour, not clouded exactly, just faded. The sun is hiding behind a yellow sky, and the air smells thick, metallic, wrong. A hush has fallen over the streets. People move faster, closer to walls, eyes down, voices low. Today, no one tells you where to go, but you know. The garden, the cool room, the plants and their quiet work. You follow your feet without question. When you reach the garden, it's half empty. The beds have been covered with cloth. The woman with the streak of white in her hair speaks to you for the first time. A single word. Smoke. Then she points. You go to the storeroom, where bundles of dried herbs are being packed in cloth and sealed in wax. Someone hands you twine. Someone else shows you how to bind the bundles, tight and quick. The air inside is tense. People work without speaking, without pausing. You catch fragments of conversation, not meant for you. Horses came through in the night. Soldiers, north of the city. Something taken, something burned. You keep your head down and your fingers moving. At midday, no one brings tea. No one stops to rest. You carry a basket through the alleys to a place you've never been, a brick house with a painted door and a woman with bandaged hands. She takes the basket and nods once. Her eyes flicker over your face, and for the first time, someone touches your arm. Just a brief press of fingers, as if to say, "I see you." Then she's gone again. You walk slower on the way back. The streets are nearly silent. Even the children aren't playing. A man stands on a corner watching the sky. You follow his gaze. There is a line of smoke in the distance, thin and straight, rising far outside the city walls. No one mentions it, but everyone sees it. Back at the shop, the air feels heavy, like something has already happened and no one's ready to say it aloud. The shopkeeper nods toward the stairs. No food, no words, just a quiet retreat. You lie down without washing, without changing, without thinking. Outside, the city breathes in shallow rhythms. You close your eyes and try not to count them. You wonder if the future can smell the past burning. You wonder how far the smoke can travel. You wonder if it will reach you before morning. But that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake to thunder. Not the crashing kind, not the storm rolling in over mountains kind. This is distant, dull, like drums beneath the earth, as if something large is moving far away, and the sound has taken the long way to reach you. You lie still and listen. It comes again, a low, slow rumble. No flash follows it, no rain, just a warning, buried in air. You sit up, and the world feels crooked, as though it shifted half a step in your sleep. The light through the shutter is dimmer than usual, orange-tinted, smoky. You move to the window and peek through. The street is there, still, familiar, but every detail feels slightly wrong. The shadows too long, the people too quiet, the sky the color of old copper, like the very air is rusting. Downstairs, the shopkeeper is packing things. You pause in the doorway. He looks at you briefly, then back at his bundles. Dry goods, cloth scraps, pots wrapped in straw. No words are exchanged. He nods toward a corner where a sack and a small clay jug wait for you. No instructions, but you know what to do. You shoulder the sack. It's heavier than it looks. You leave without asking where you're going, because there's only one direction people seem to be heading today, away from the smoke. The city is not panicking, not yet, but it's bracing. You pass others on foot, quiet families, traders with half-filled carts, a woman with a basket of dates covered in cloth, a man carrying a sheep, not leading it. Everyone walks with purpose, but no one says what the purpose is. You follow the flow, past the alleys where children once played, past the shuttered tea stalls and the now silent fountain, past the man who always sold figs and the old woman who cursed the wind. The gate to the city is open, and the guards who usually joke or sneer are today stone-faced and silent. They do not stop anyone. Outside the walls, the land rolls in long, dusty hills. The smoke on the horizon is thicker now, a line drawn across the distance, too straight to be nature, too steady to be firewood. You walk. An hour passes, maybe two. No one speaks. The group that gathers around you is made of people you don't know. A boy with a broken sandal, a woman with a sleeping child strapped to her chest, a man who carries nothing but a scroll tucked tightly under his arm like it might hold his soul. You climb a small ridge, and when you crest it, you see the road below. And there, riders. Not many, not fast, but there, moving like ink across parchment. You don't wait to learn more, neither does anyone else. You turn east, toward the old orchard the apothecary once mentioned, where dried apricots are left for birds and the wind moves through the trees like it's brushing back hair. It's quiet there, cool almost. You sit beneath a crooked almond tree and press your forehead to your knees. You do not cry. You do not sleep. You do not know what this day is becoming. But you wait, the way the earth waits for thunder to pass. When the sun finally lowers behind the hills, no answers come, only shadows. You make your way back to the city, unsure if you'll be allowed in, but the guards are gone now. The gate creaks, unattended. You step through it like a thief returning home. Your mat is where you left it. The rat is there too, grooming itself as if nothing happened. You lie down and stare at the ceiling. The crack in the beam is longer now, or maybe you just see more of it. You wonder how many nights you have survived. You wonder if survival is the same as belonging. You wonder what burns while you sleep. But that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake with sand in your mouth. Not much, just a trace, a bitter grit against your tongue. You sit up slowly and feel it. The wind has shifted. The air is sharp, drier than usual, carrying something from far away. You brush your lips with the back of your hand, then check the small clay bowl beside your mat. It's covered in a thin layer of dust. The shutters rattle softly. The sky outside is pale, flat, the color of old linen.
A storm hasn't come, but the world behaves like it's waiting for one. The shop downstairs is empty. Not closed, just quiet. No bread, no water, no gestures. The sack is gone from the corner. The pot's packed. The shopkeeper's sandals are missing from beside the door. You stand there for a moment, unsure if he's left forever or just stepped out. You step into the street. It's not deserted, but emptier than you've seen it before. Doors are closed, windows shuttered. A curtain twitches. A dog walks past with something in its mouth, a shoe or a bone, or both. You're not told where to go today, but your feet turn toward the garden. When you reach it, you find the gate unlatched. No one's there. The herbs are drying on their lines. The mint is wilting. The baskets are overturned, as if someone left in a hurry. You stand among the plants like a ghost in a memory, not sure whether you belong to the place or it to you. The silence here is different, not tense, just hollow. You kneel and begin pulling weeds, not because it's asked, but because it feels wrong to do nothing. Your fingers move through the soil. The earth is dry, but still soft beneath the surface. Things live here, even now. By mid-morning, others arrive, quietly, one by one. A girl you've seen before, with dyed fingers and cracked heels. A man who always coughs once before he speaks. No one says anything. They begin working beside you, as if continuing a conversation that doesn't need words. Later, someone brings a pot of water. It's muddy, warm, but you drink. The cup passes from hand to hand. There are no roles anymore, just labor shared in silence. The wind picks up around noon, carrying dust that stings your eyes. You wipe your face with your sleeve, but the grit stays. The leaves ripple. The cloth on the drying lines flaps violently, and then tears. The woman with the white streaked hair appears. No one saw her come in. She moves slowly, with purpose, inspecting the beds, lifting a fallen basket. She speaks a few words, low, in Farsi, but you don't need to understand them. Her voice is steady. Everyone begins gathering the herbs. No drying today. No time. You carry bundles in your arms like wounded birds. Lay them gently in a chest lined with cloth. The lid is shut, the tide back. Then the woman looks at you, just you, and hands you a scroll wrapped in oiled fabric. She presses it into your hands with a grip that lingers. You nod. You don't know what it is. You don't ask. You run. Through the narrow alleys, past the old fountain, past the boys with skipping stones who no longer play. You clutch the scroll close to your chest. A cart clatters by, too fast. A voice calls out a name you don't recognize. Smoke hangs in the air again, distant, but not far enough. You reach the old bookhouse, the one with the carved columns in the ink-stained silence. The door is ajar. Inside, the same scribe sits, his fingers blackened, his gaze tired but sharp. You place the scroll on his desk. He doesn't ask where it came from. He simply unwraps it, reads the edge, and nods once. His brush moves. Marks are made. A copy begins. You sit on the floor nearby. Wait until he's finished. Watch the room fill slowly with a hush that doesn't feel fearful, just heavy with meaning. By late afternoon, the wind begins to fade. The air is clearer, slightly. The sky above the courtyard is streaked with a color you haven't seen in days, something close to blue. You walk back slowly, not because your legs are tired, though they are, but because you don't want to miss anything. A child's laugh behind a shutter, the smell of flatbread, the way the city, even in fear, refuses to crumble. At the shop, the door is still open. The pots are still missing, but a small cup waits on the counter. Water, cooler than before. Someone left it for you. You take it upstairs. You drink. You lie down.
You exhale into the silence like it's something alive. And you wonder, what else has been passed into your hands without you knowing? What secrets have you carried without understanding their weight? You close your eyes. The sand in your mouth is gone, but you can still taste the wind. And that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake to bells. Not the kind that ring in joy or warning, but the soft kind. Metal on metal, thin and distant, carried on the morning wind like something lost from a caravan. At first, you think it's a dream. You lie still, eyes half open, watching the light shift across the ceiling. The crack in the beam above you seems deeper today, as though the room itself is aging with you. You sit up slowly. Your back aches in familiar ways. Your legs remember the road. The taste of dust still lingers at the edges of your tongue. You rise without needing a reason. Today, no one is coming to fetch you. You know this now. Your movements have become your own. Downstairs, the shop remains open, but hollow. The shelf that once held folded cloth now holds nothing. The bench where the shopkeeper used to nap in the afternoons is covered in dust. He hasn't returned. On the counter, someone has left a bundle of dates, fresh, wrapped in palm leaves, tied with thread, a gift with no name. You take one and chew slowly as you step into the street. The bells again, closer now. You follow the sound through half-lit alleys, past shuttered windows and awnings rolled tight. The city feels paused, like an actor holding its breath just before a line, and yet the bells continue. You find them at the edge of the western square, two donkeys harnessed to a wooden cart. Hanging from their necks are tiny bronze chimes, swaying gently as they move. A boy leads them, no older than 10, barefoot and calm. The cart carries sacks, bundles, baskets of unfamiliar leaves. No one else seems to notice him. You watch them pass until they vanish around the bend. The bells grow faint again, swallowed by stone and time. You keep walking. You reach the old courtyard where people sometimes gathered to hear poetry or announce births. Today it's empty, except for a woman sitting alone, grinding something in a stone bowl. You recognize the motion, the slow circle, the pressure. She looks up. You nod. She doesn't smile, but she tilts the bowl slightly towards you, an offering. Inside, dark seeds crushed to paste. You kneel beside her, and for a while, the two of you work without words. Your shadow mingles with hers on the ground. A breeze lifts your hair. Above you, doves perch on the roof's edge, cooing like they're sharing secrets only birds and gods are meant to hear. When the work is done, she wraps the mixture in oiled paper, presses it into your palm, and closes your fingers around it like it matters. You nod again. She stands, brushes the dust from her skirt, and walks away without looking back. You carry the packet carefully, unsure if it's medicine, dye, or food. It doesn't matter. You understand now that most things here serve more than one purpose. You pass the fountain on your way home. The water has returned. A trickle, no more, but it glints in the light like something rare. A boy fills a jug and offers you a sip from his cupped hand. You drink. The water is warm but clear. When you thank him, he doesn't reply, just grins and runs off. The sky is brighter now, not cheerful, just awake.
The city stirs again, slowly, like a sleeping body stretching beneath heavy blankets. Life doesn't return all at once. It never does. But the rhythm is resuming. You reach the shop. The mat waits. You lie down before the ache catches up to you. The room smells faintly of dates and crushed seed. You close your eyes, and the bells return, not in sound, but in memory. You wonder who the boy was. You wonder if the cart was real. You wonder how many things in this world are meant to pass through quietly, unclaimed. You turn toward the wall, and you rest. But that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake to footsteps above you, slow, deliberate, and just light enough to make you question whether they were ever really there. You open your eyes into pale light. It filters through the shutter as a thin blade, cutting the room in half, one side warm, one side cold. You sit up slowly. Your back complains. Your neck stiffens halfway through the motion. You ignore both. The mat beneath you has become familiar in the way a scar is, not comforting, but known. The rat is gone, again, or maybe watching from some corner you'll never see. You rise, dress, dust yourself off with a cloth someone left on the step yesterday or the day before. You can't remember. The days no longer announce themselves. The shop is still quiet, but not abandoned. Someone has been sweeping. The floor bears fresh marks, short, careful strokes. You run your fingers along the counter. No dust. A bowl of rice sits waiting, still warm. It wasn't made by accident. You eat slowly, listening to the sound of morning trickling through the alley like water through a cracked jar. A cart rumbles in the distance. A child cries and is hushed. Somewhere, someone is singing under their breath, a low, wordless thing. Not joy, not grief, just habit. You're not told where to go, but your feet remember. You walk north today, toward the stone path that leads to the edge of the city. Not the merchant gate, the other one, the quieter one, where broken carts go to die and herbs grow in the cracks between the stones. You walk with your eyes down, tracing the shapes in the dirt. Hoof prints, sandals, something barefoot, something smaller than you. A bird hops beside you for a time, then takes flight without warning. At the edge of the city, you find the orchard. Not the royal one, not even one anyone speaks of, just a forgotten stretch of ground with trees bent low from years of wind. Their leaves tremble but do not fall. You step inside the grove, careful not to disturb the dust that clings to every root. You recognize two faces here, the boy who once gave you water at the fountain and the woman who tied your sack for travel. Neither greet you. They simply nod, then return to their work. You join them without question. Your task is simple. Gather. Not fruit. It's too early for that. You gather fallen branches, dried leaves, broken stalks. Kindling. Fuel for something not yet burning. You move slowly through the orchard, bending, picking, straightening. Your back hums with complaint. Your arms begin to ache. But the rhythm settles into you. A breath in, a bend down, a gathering, a breath out. When your arms are full, the woman points to a stone ring at the far end of the trees. A fire pit, long unused. You place the kindling there, then return for more. By midday, a small pile begins to form. Someone brings water, clay cups carried two at a time, the liquid sloshing but never spilling. You drink. The water is cool, drawn from a well you don't know. You nod. The boy grins. A short while later, a new figure enters the grove. An old man, bent but fast, with skin like dried bark and eyes like flint. He does not speak. He inspects the fire pit, then the branches, then you. He nods once. You sit beside the ring of stones as he kneels. From a pouch, he draws a flint and strikes it until sparks leap toward the pile. The branches hiss, then catch. The fire is not large, but it's alive. The flames rise slowly, steady and quiet. No one adds more wood. They simply sit in a circle around it, not for warmth, the day is hot, but for something else, a kind of stillness, a gathering, a remembering. The old man begins to hum. You've heard the tune before, or something like it, in the marketplace, in the dye house, in the echo of footfalls on wet stone. It's a tune that belongs to the place more than any person. Others begin to hum with him. You do not know the notes, but your breath finds the rhythm. You close your eyes. For a moment, you feel it, that quiet bond between strangers who no longer need to explain why they're here. When the hum fades, the boy hands the old man a bundle wrapped in cloth. He unwraps it slowly, reverently. Inside, small sticks of incense, tightly bound and dark with resin. He drops one into the fire. It sizzles. Then the scent rises. It fills the air with something both sweet and sharp, like sap from a tree that bled once, long ago. You watch the smoke curl toward the sky, and for a moment you are not in a city, or an orchard, or a fire circle. You are nowhere, and everywhere. You are no one, and finally, yourself. The ceremony ends not with words but with motion. People stand, stretch, begin to clear the ground again. The old man nods once more. The boy disappears between two trees, humming. You help gather the ashes, pour them into a jar, seal it with wax. The woman places the jar in your hands. You carry it back to the city. You don't ask what it's for. You don't need to. You just walk through the late afternoon heat, across uneven streets, past neighbors who now look you in the eye. You return to the shop. No one is there, but the door is open. You go upstairs. The mat waits. You place the jar beside your sleeping spot, where it glows softly in the dimming light. You lie down. Your hands smell of smoke and sweet sap. Your hair of dust and firelight. Your eyes close slowly. And as sleep drifts in like ash on wind, you wonder, what was burned today? What was honored? And what in that smoke carried your name? But that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake to bells. Not the kind that ring in joy or warning, but the soft kind, metal on metal, thin and distant, carried on the morning wind like something lost from a caravan. At first, you think it's a dream. You lie still, eyes half open, watching the light shift across the ceiling. The crack in the beam above you seems deeper today, as though the room itself is aging with you. You sit up slowly. Your back aches in familiar ways. Your legs remember the road. The taste of dust still lingers at the edges of your tongue. You rise without needing a reason. Today, no one is coming to fetch you. You know this now. Your movements have become your own. Downstairs, the shop remains open, but hollow.
The shelf that once held folded cloth now holds nothing. The bench where the shopkeeper used to nap in the afternoons is covered in dust. He hasn't returned. On the counter, someone has left a bundle of dates, fresh, wrapped in palm leaves, tied with thread, a gift with no name. You take one and chew slowly as you step into the street. The bells again, closer now. You follow the sound through half-lit alleys, past shuttered windows and awnings rolled tight. The city feels paused, like an actor holding its breath just before a line, and yet the bells continue. You find them at the edge of the western square, two donkeys harnessed to a wooden cart. Hanging from their necks are tiny bronze chimes, swaying gently as they move. A boy leads them, no older than 10, barefoot and calm. The cart carries sacks, bundles, baskets of unfamiliar leaves. No one else seems to notice him. You watch them pass until they vanish around the bend. The bells grow faint again, swallowed by stone and time. You keep walking. You reach the old courtyard where people sometimes gathered to hear poetry or announce births. Today it's empty, except for a woman sitting alone, grinding something in a stone bowl. You recognize the motion, the slow circle, the pressure. She looks up. You nod. She doesn't smile, but she tilts the bowl slightly towards you, an offering. Inside, dark seeds crushed to paste. You kneel beside her, and for a while the two of you work without words. Your shadow mingles with hers on the ground. A breeze lifts your hair. Above you, doves perch on the roof's edge, cooing like they're sharing secrets only birds and gods are meant to hear. When the work is done, she wraps the mixture in oiled paper, presses it into your palm, and closes your fingers around it like it matters. You nod again. She stands, brushes the dust from her skirt, and walks away without looking back. You carry the packet carefully, unsure if it's medicine, dye, or food. It doesn't matter. You understand now that most things here serve more than one purpose. You pass the fountain on your way home. The water has returned. A trickle, no more, but it glints in the light like something rare. A boy fills a jug and offers you a sip from his cupped hand. You drink. The water is warm but clear. When you thank him, he doesn't reply, just grins and runs off. The sky is brighter now, not cheerful, just awake. The city stirs again, slowly, like a sleeping body stretching beneath heavy blankets. Life doesn't return all at once. It never does. But the rhythm is resuming. You reach the shop. The mat waits. You lie down before the ache catches up to you. The room smells faintly of dates and crushed seed. You close your eyes, and the bells return, not in sound, but in memory. You wonder who the boy was. You wonder if the cart was real. You wonder how many things in this world are meant to pass through quietly, unclaimed. You turn toward the wall, and you rest. But that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake with your hands already curled, as if they'd been holding something in your sleep. Something important, something heavy. But when you open your eyes, there is nothing there. The room is unusually quiet. Even the wind, which usually weeps gently through the shuttered cracks, is still. The air feels close, like a breath held too long. You sit up slowly. The jar is where you left it, sealed, untouched. It doesn't glow in the morning light. It simply
waits. You rise without thinking. There's no hunger in your belly, no stiffness in your limbs, just a quiet pull, like gravity, guiding you forward without direction. Downstairs, the shop is empty again, but the door is open. Outside, the streets are washed clean. Not by rain. It hasn't rained in weeks. But something has shifted. The dust has settled. The air tastes newer, like something important just left, or something even more important is on its way. People are moving slower today. Not in fear, in reverence. As if they know the world has turned, but haven't yet said it aloud. You walk without being called. No one gestures, no one sends you, and yet you go. Through the alleys that no longer seem so narrow, past the stall with no vendor, where fruit sits in a bowl, ripening without witness, past the wall where children once played with string and stones. Their chalk drawings remain, sun-faded but stubborn, a lion, a hand, a circle inside a circle. You pass the garden, but you do not enter. A few women are working there now, younger ones, gathering mint in quiet pairs. One of them glances up and smiles at you, just briefly, then returns to her task. You keep walking. The fire circle in the orchard is cold. A single feather rests near the edge of the stones. It moves only slightly when you exhale beside it. Today's path bends east, along the edge of the wall. You find yourself near a place you've never been. A rise of land where old stone pillars lean toward each other like tired men. One is broken clean in half, the others hold. You sit there, without being told, in the shadow of half-forgotten things. You feel the sun warm your back and the cool earth beneath your palms. For a long time, you do nothing. Then you see him, not close, not approaching, just there. A figure moving along the path below the ridge, with the slow palm stride of someone who is not lost and is in no rush to be found. He wears dark robes, carries nothing, leaves no trail. And as you watch him pass, he looks up, just once. You don't wave. He doesn't nod. But something inside you shifts, like a loose stone settling into place. You remain there until the sun is nearly overhead. Then you rise and walk back. The city meets you gently. The shopkeeper is outside for the first time in days, wiping dust from a step. He looks up, nods once, as if to say, "Yes, I remember you." Inside the shop, a cup of tea waits, bitter, fragrant. You sip it on the stairs, watching sunlight collect on the wall like gold dust. Upstairs, the jar still waits beside your mat. You lie down beside it, eyes open and watch the way the light curves around it without touching it. You do not ask what's in it. You already know it holds something sacred. Not in the sense of religion, but in the sense of silence, of labor, of names unspoken and stories half finished. You close your eyes slowly, and tonight, for the first time, you don't wonder when you'll go back. You wonder if you already have. But that is a story for tomorrow night.
A soft light seeps through the shutters, not bright, not gold, but the kind of light that feels like it's waiting for permission. The city hasn't stirred yet. No footsteps in the alleys, no water splashing in the courtyards. Just the quiet rustle of something shifting in the fabric of the day, like a breath being taken in slowly. You lie still for a moment, your body warm beneath the linen, your face cool from the stone air. Beside you, the sealed jar waits, unchanged. But something in you knows it is fuller now, not of new contents, but of time. You sit up slowly. Your muscles move without complaint. The ache you've grown used to has softened into something else. Not comfort, not ease, just familiarity. Downstairs, the shop is empty, but it smells like bread, fresh, warm, real. On the counter sits a folded cloth with steam curling out from underneath. You lift it. Flatbread, still soft, and next to it, a wedge of cheese wrapped in fig leaves. You eat with quiet gratitude, standing by the open door, watching the city stretch its limbs. People move slowly this morning. They speak softer. Doors open a little wider. Children run through the square again, their laughter as fragile as glass, but no longer gone. The air smells like spice and flour, and something green. Basil, maybe. Or hope. You aren't sent anywhere today. No one gestures, no one calls your name. Instead, a young girl approaches you with a ribbon in her hand. It's dyed red, roughly cut, knotted in the center. She says nothing, just places it in your palm and runs off, bare feet slapping the stone. You turn the ribbon over once. The knot is uneven, the thread frayed. You tie it around your wrist. Not tightly, just enough to feel. You begin to walk. Not from duty, but from want. Toward the square, past the bookhouse, through the street where someone's singing a tune you almost know. You find yourself drawn back to the orchard, though no one is there to lead you. The trees are blooming now. Not all, but some. Soft white flowers tremble on the branches, their scent mild, sweet, almost new. You walk between the rows with hands clasped behind your back. Birds flicker between branches, landing just long enough to chirp once and vanish again. The earth beneath your feet is soft. The world, for once, is not asking anything of you. Near the fire circle, the stone ring has been swept clean. A few new bundles of wood sit nearby, small, dry, waiting. You sit where you sat before, resting your elbows on your knees, watching the wind carry petals in lazy circles. It is the kind of day that does not make promises, only invitations. Eventually, someone joins you. The old man, perhaps, or a woman you've seen but never spoken to. Or no one at all. Time folds in a way that makes faces indistinct. But you are not alone. You return late. The sun has dipped below the wall's edge,
casting long shadows that stretch like reaching arms. The shop is still open, the mat still there, the jar beside it unchanged. You lie down, the ribbon still tied to your wrist. You close your eyes and feel the warmth of the bread still in your belly, the memory of petals against your skin, the sound of children running through sunlit squares. You do not dream. You simply float, weightless, inside the world you've begun to carry. And for the first time, you do not wonder about yesterday. You do not fear tomorrow. You only breathe. And that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake to the sound of sweeping. Soft, methodical, and close. A broom brushing stone just beneath your window. It doesn't rush. It doesn't hesitate. It moves like someone who has swept these streets 1,000 times and will sweep them 1,000 more. You lie there a while, eyes open, watching the early light gather in slow folds across the ceiling. The jar is still beside you, unbroken, untouched. The ribbon around your wrist has faded slightly. A bit of the red has turned to rust. You don't untie it. When you finally sit up, your body feels known. Not younger, not stronger, but no longer foreign. You rise without questioning the aches. You wrap yourself in the same linen, now soft from wear, and step down into a morning already moving. The shop is open. The shopkeeper is outside, broom in hand, sweeping with his back to you. When you pass him, he pauses just long enough to tap the ground with the end of the broom once. Not a greeting, not a farewell, just acknowledgement. You nod. That's all either of you need. You don't go far today. You walk toward the edge of the square and find a stool. You sit. That's it. Around you, life unfolds slowly. Children chase a ball made of bound cloth. A woman sits cross-legged on a rug, repairing a torn hem with golden thread. A young man stands beside a basket of oranges, offering slices to anyone who passes. You accept one. It's cold, sweet, real. You lean back and let the sounds of the square move around you. Clinking cups, soft arguments, a dog barking at something no one else can see. And then a voice. Not one you recognize, not sharp, not loud, but certain. A boy's voice, standing just beside your stool, asking you a question. You don't understand all the words, but you understand the meaning. He wants to know where you're from. You look at him. His hair is a mess. His teeth are too big for his mouth. He smells faintly of honey and smoke. He is smiling like someone who hasn't yet learned to be cautious with his joy. And you don't know how to answer. Not because you don't remember, though sometimes you don't, but because the answer has changed. So you point to the street, then to the garden, then to the orchard, then to the sky. He laughs like he gets it. Then he sits beside you, chewing the last of his orange. Together, you say nothing for a while. The square continues its slow dance. At some point, he leaves, just as easily as he came. No goodbye, only gone. You walk home as the shadows begin to shift. The wind has picked up a little. It plays with your sleeves, with your hair, with the edge of the cloth that lines the jar beside your mat. Upstairs, the light through the shutter is soft and golden. You sit cross-legged on the mat. The room is warm, quiet, still. You unwrap the ribbon from your wrist. Not because it's time, but because it feels right. You set it beside the jar, where it rests in a small curl. A red thread. A story you'll remember even when the dye fades. You lie down. And as your breath settles,
you realize something simple and irreversible. You are not waiting to be returned anymore. You have arrived. And that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake to light, full, golden, and already warm. Not creeping through cracks or softening shadows, but filling the room entirely like a tide. It touches your face, your hands, the wall, the jar. There's no hesitation in it, no veil. It is simply there, and so are you. You sit up slowly, not because you're tired, but because there's no need to rush. Your body follows you easily now. The linen is familiar on your skin, worn to softness in every place it touches you. The mat has lost its scratch. Or maybe your skin has grown used to it. Maybe both. You rise and open the shutter fully for the first time. The view is ordinary: rooftops, birds, a line of washing left too long in the sun. But the way it sits inside your chest is different, like something you once reached for that finally reached back. Downstairs, the shop is open. The shopkeeper is seated just outside, sipping something from a clay cup. When he sees you, he gestures toward the second cup, already poured. You sit beside him, drink. The taste is sweet and bitter at once. Familiar, like old memory and fresh sugar mingling on your tongue. No words pass between you. There is no task today, no errand, no summons, no delivery wrapped in oiled cloth, no hands waving you this way or that. You walk anyway. The streets are warm, slow, and full. Vendors call without urgency. Someone plays a reed flute in a doorway. A girl rides past on a donkey, clinging with one arm, waving with the other. You wave back. At the corner, someone hands you a fig without speaking. You eat it while walking. It drips down your fingers and leaves your lips sticky. You pass the book house. The scribe is still there, head bent, brush moving. You don't stop. You've read nothing and learned everything. You pass the apothecary's garden. The mint has grown tall. The girls who work there wear green stains on their sleeves and laughter in their throats. You pass the orchard. The trees are heavy with fruit now. The petals are gone, but their memory clings to the bark. Someone has begun to gather apricots in wide baskets. The fire ring is cold, but the stones have been washed. A new circle has been marked nearby, smaller, waiting. You sit there a long while, watching the sun pass overhead, tracing the movement of light across the grass. The birds don't startle when you shift. They stay, perched nearby, watching as if they remember you. By the time you return to the city, the shadows have softened again. The clay walls glow like embers in the dusk. You know every turn now, every stone in the road, every wooden beam that creaks when touched. Upstairs, the jar is still sealed, but tonight you reach for it. You untie the wax cloth, lift the lid slowly, look inside. It's empty, or rather, it holds nothing you can name. But the scent rises softly. Herbs, ash, thyme, and something that smells like your own breath caught in it. You place the lid back on. And instead of setting it aside, you carry it with you to the mat.
You lie down with the jar beside your chest, both of you facing the shutter, both of you quiet. You no longer wonder if someone will come for you. You no longer ask how you got here. You no longer keep count of how many nights have passed. The story doesn't end. It only sleeps when you do. And that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake gently, as though you've been drifting near the surface of sleep for some time, and now the day is simply waiting for you to open your eyes. You do, and find yourself already calm, already here. The light is soft this morning, not golden, not blue, but a warm gray, like the underside of a dove's wing. The jar is still beside you, unopened now, sealed again, though you don't remember doing it. Your hand rests near it on the mat, fingers curled, palm open. There is nothing in it, and yet it holds everything you've gathered. You sit up slowly, listening. The city is quieter than usual, but not empty. It's the kind of hush that comes when nothing is wrong and nothing is expected. The kind of hush that says, rest if you wish, walk if you must, you are allowed. Downstairs, the shopkeeper isn't sweeping. He's seated, cross-legged, polishing something small in his hands. A brass weight, or maybe a stone. When he sees you, he nods, not as greeting, but as continuation. He doesn't offer you food this time. There's a bundle on the table instead. Linen, folded, tied with twine. You understand. You lift the bundle and feel its warmth. Not from the sun, from hands. Someone touched this recently and meant it to be yours. You step outside. The street is empty, but not lonely. Every shutter is open. Every rug is hung to breathe. Birds move between rooftop and rooftop like ink dropped in water. You walk. Your feet take you to places without needing thought. Through alleys you know better than memories, past stones you've stumbled over and now avoid with ease, past corners where children used to laugh and still might, later, when the light is different. You pass the orchard, but don't stop. The fruit has been picked, the fire pit cleared, the baskets are gone. You pass the book house. The door is closed, but smoke rises from its chimney. You walk until the walls of the city fall away and the land stretches open before you. It's the first time you've come here, not the edge where trade carts pass or where watchmen stand, but the edge where no one is needed, just fields, long and uneven, brushed with wild grasses. The air smells like iron and sweet stalks and something green that doesn't grow in gardens. You sit beneath the tree that casts no real shadow, only the shape of stillness. You open the linen bundle. Inside, there is only a single thing, a folded cloth the size of your palm, dark with dye, soft with wear. You hold it and slowly unfold it. It bears no symbol, no writing, just stains, some old, some fresh, marks left by hands that worked and wrapped and passed it on. You fold it again, and this time you place it in your lap not to keep it, but simply to share space with it. You sit there until the wind picks up, and when it does, you feel it behind your ears, in your clothes, beneath your skin. Not pushing, not pulling, just reminding. You walk back slowly, your path unmarked, your pace your own. When you reach the city gates again, you see no guards, just a boy carving something into the wall with a dull knife.
He looks up as you pass, and for a brief moment you see your own face reflected in his, not in shape, but in question. He blinks once. You nod. The boy smiles, just a little, just enough. At the shop, the door is still open. The jar is still in its place. The mat is undisturbed. You set the cloth beside the jar, not inside. Some things belong close, not contained. You lie down slowly. You close your eyes, and this time you do not wonder what will happen tomorrow. You do not wonder if this is a dream, or a spell, or a punishment. You simply breathe and let the story rest with you. Not because it's over, but because it no longer needs to be told. And that is enough for tonight.
You wake as if you've been listening in your sleep, not to sound, but to silence. A silence layered with memory, not absence, but presence too vast to name. You open your eyes slowly. The light is already here, but it doesn't greet you. It simply continues. It's the kind of light that belongs more to stone than to sky. The air is still, but not dead. It holds the weight of stillness the way a jar holds water, patiently, without spilling. You sit up. The mat shifts beneath you, sighs a little. Your body moves easily, without complaint or ceremony. You look to the jar, still sealed, still full in the way only empty things can be. The cloth beneath it remains undisturbed, as if no breeze has dared touch it. The little clay bird waits beside them both, wings frozen in flight. You place your palm over it for a moment. It's warm. It remembers the sun. There's no food waiting, no gesture, no shopkeeper. The door downstairs is open, but not wide. Just enough to say, "Go if you will." You do. The streets are gentler now, softer, not because they've changed, but because you have. You no longer glance behind you to see who's watching, no longer pause to guess what someone wants. You pass by familiar doors and some that were always closed. Today, more are open. You see faces you've never seen before, but they don't feel new. A man nods to you while slicing lemons. A girl walks past carrying a tray of tiny cups, one for each hand, one for herself. None spill. At the edge of the city, the road stretches ahead, the one that used to frighten you, the one that once looked like exile. Today, it looks different. Not a path to escape, but a path that simply continues. You follow it only a little, just enough to feel it beneath your feet again. You pass a shepherd with no sheep, just a staff and a song. You pass a row of fig trees, their branches humming with bees, low and content. You sit on a stone beneath one of the trees. It fits you perfectly, like it has always been waiting. And there you do nothing. Not out of laziness, not from fatigue. You do nothing because nothing is needed. The day moves around you, not past you. The sun leans a little westward. A fig falls and splits open in the dust. You do not touch it. A bird lands nearby, pecks once, and hops away. You smile. When you finally return, the city doesn't blink. At the shop, the door is fully open now. The threshold no longer divides, it only invites. Upstairs, the jar has shifted slightly. Not fallen, just turned as though in sleep. The cloth has wrinkled beneath it. The little bird now faces east. You lie down, not because you're tired, but because the day has laid itself to rest.
and you're part of that rhythm now. Your hand rests beside the jar. Your eyes close without effort. You think of nothing. Not the beginning, not the end. Only this. A silence full of breath. A story that continues even when no one is telling it. A life that doesn't ask to be explained. And that is no longer a story for tomorrow night. That is the story you live in now.
You wake, not from sleep, but from stillness, as though your body had simply paused, not to rest, not to recover, but to listen. And now, whatever it was waiting to hear has passed, and so you rise. No transition, no fog, just breath, and then motion. The room is unchanged, and yet you see it now as something else entirely. Not a place you arrived in, not a place you were trapped in, but a place you grew into, like water shaped to stone. The mat beneath you is worn smooth. The jar beside it is no longer sealed. The cloth has curled at the edges. The clay bird rests beneath the open shutter where a line of light cuts across its wings. There's nothing new, nothing different, nothing strange. And still, it feels like the world has turned again, quietly, while you were still. You rise. You move as though the air expects you, and it does. The streets welcome you not as a visitor, but as one of their own. The sounds are low today, sweeping, mending, distant humming. The sharp edges of urgency have softened into the roundness of habit. You walk through it all not like someone returning, but like someone who never left. At the square, the fig seller isn't there. His stall remains, but empty. A few figs rest in a shallow bowl. No coin cup, no sign, just fruit. You take one. It tastes like sunlight soaked into flesh. It tastes like memory, long softened. At the edge of the market, a woman pours water from a jug into small clay bowls for birds. She hums as she does it. When you pass, she nods once, not in greeting, but in rhythm. You nod back. Everything today feels like rhythm. The wind through laundry, the creak of wood beneath sandals, even your own breath now perfectly timed with the world. You reach the orchard, not by choice, by pull. The trees are heavy again, not just with fruit, but with stillness, like they too have been listening, growing into their own names. Someone has gathered stones into a small circle beneath one tree. Not a fire ring, not this time. Just a place to sit. You do. There's no task waiting here. Nothing to be wrapped, or delivered, or repaired. There's only the silence, the good kind, the kind that fills, not empties. A leaf falls. A breeze moves across your ankles. In the distance, a child is laughing. The sound is so free it makes your eyes sting. You stay until the sun rolls low across the grove, until the trees cast long, soft shadows that lean gently toward one another like old friends falling asleep. You rise when it's time. You know when that is. You always have. You return through streets that now remember your footsteps. The walls do not echo. They exhale. At the shop, the door is closed. Not locked, just resting. You enter. You climb. You lie down. The jar is open, empty. Light from the shutter falls inside it. The cloth is folded again. The bird has turned to face the window. There is nothing to wait for.
Nothing to prepare, nothing to wonder. You close your eyes, and there is no difference between waking and sleeping, between silence and story, between then and now. There is no voice this time to mark the end, because it is not the end. It is only what comes after the last question, when even that no longer needs to be asked.
You wake and realize you never really slept. Not in the way you used to, when the body collapsed and the mind unraveled. This waking is softer, like surfacing, like lifting your head from a stream, water still dripping from your hair, but the current having already passed through you. You open your eyes and feel no urgency. The room is quiet, yes, but not still. There is breath in the walls, a murmur in the air. The kind of quiet that only comes when nothing is missing. The jar beside you is exactly where it has always been, and yet it feels different. Not heavier, not lighter, just complete. The cloth beneath it is no longer folded, no longer arranged. It lies loosely now, softened into its own shape, like a thing that no longer pretends to be perfect. The little bird has tipped forward, beak resting against the floor as if it bowed overnight. You do not sit up right away. You watch the light instead, how it comes in from the shutter, not as a single beam, but as a wash. Gentle, like paint spread thinly over old wood. It reaches the edges of the mat, brushes your feet. It has no beginning and no center. When you rise, your body answers like a friend. The aches are gone, or perhaps not gone, but no longer noticed. They are part of the story now, part of the room, part of you. You move through the shop and into the street as though the threshold was never there. The world outside opens with no fanfare. The city is the same, and it is not. The stones underfoot have been here longer than anyone. The dust still rises with each step. The people still carry baskets, sweep steps, call to one another in voices that bend and rise like the wind. But you see now what you could not see before. None of them are lost, even the ones who wander. You walk toward the square. The fig seller offers you one without a word. You bite into it. It is so sweet, it almost breaks you. Near the fountain, the boy who once asked you where you were from is now sitting alone, drawing shapes in the dust with a stick. You pause beside him. He doesn't look up. But he says, "You've been here a long time." You nod. Do you remember when you got here? You think for a moment, then answer, "I don't think I ever really arrived. I think I just stopped resisting being here." He nods like that makes perfect sense, because it does. You walk again, not far, just to the orchard. The trees are taller. The air smells of ripened fruit and warm earth. Someone has built a bench near the edge of the grove. You sit. You rest your hands in your lap and listen to the bees working, the leaves whispering, the wind brushing between them like fingers through hair. You stay until the sun begins to lean, until the shadows lengthen,
and turn to gold. You walk home with the ease of someone who is not returning, but continuing. Upstairs, the mat waits, the jar remains. The bird has righted itself. The cloth has creased under the weight of the day. You lie down with no thought of tomorrow, no thought of before. And this time, when you close your eyes, there is no voice to say but that. There is only the breath you take, the stillness that answers it, the belonging that requires nothing. No ending, no next. Only this. Only now.
You wake, and there is no transition at all. Not from sleep, not from thought. You open your eyes because your eyes are ready, because the room is already awake, because everything around you, the mat, the jar, the bird, the pale fold of light beneath the shutter, has simply continued. And now you have too. There's no breath of surprise, no sharp return to the world, only continuity, only stillness unfolding itself into motion. You sit up with ease. Your body answers like a note held long enough to become part of the air. You stretch not because you need to, but because you can. The jar beside you has taken in the light. It shines faintly, not with magic, not with meaning, just with morning. The bird is still at the window, its beak pointed outward, waiting for nothing. The cloth, folded neatly again, has begun to fray along one edge. One thread has loosened, curling like a question no longer asked. You dress slowly. There is no task, no summons, no role to fill. And so, you walk. Outside, the city breathes. Not with effort, not in the way cities gasp beneath burdens, but with grace, like a grandmother shelling lentils beneath a tree, like someone singing to themselves without noticing. The walls are warm, the windows open, the streets curve like hands cupping water. A boy runs past with a kite made from old parchment and reeds. The string trails behind him. It catches the wind and lifts, flutters, stumbles, then steadies. The boy laughs, one wild burst, and then he's gone. You pass the square. It is quiet today. A few people sit where the shade falls. No one sells anything. No one performs. Someone has drawn a spiral in the dust with a stick. You trace it with your foot as you pass. It continues after you. You follow your feet to the place where the city thins, where the wall is more suggestion than boundary, where the orchard gives way to grass, where paths are not paved, but known. You walk farther than usual, past the fig trees, past the stone bench, past the worn path, until you find the hill. It isn't high, just enough to lift your body into a broader silence. From here, the rooftops look soft, as though the whole city is resting its head on folded arms. The sky is wider than you remembered, bluer, but not proud, a sky without sharpness. You sit. Let your fingers comb through the wild grass. It hisses gently, like it remembers wind. You breathe in, and everything smells of dry earth and ripe things and the clean simplicity of nothing needing to be done. You sit until the light begins to curve. And then you walk home. The path no longer feels like a return.
just another turn in the circle. At the shop, the door stands open, and for a moment you think you hear a voice from within, not calling you, not asking, just speaking softly into the room, like someone finishing a thought. You climb the steps slowly, your feet making no sound. The mat is there, the jar, the bird, the cloth. You lie down, not to rest, but to listen. To the breath of the walls, to the softness of the air, to the deep and certain silence of a world that no longer needs to explain itself. You close your eyes, and for the first time, there is no boundary between you and the place. You are not waking. You are not dreaming. You are not remembering. You are simply here. And here is enough.
You wake, and you do not move, not from stillness, not from doubt, but because this, lying here, breathing quietly, listening to the hush of morning wrap itself around stone and shutter, is exactly enough. The light does not surprise you. It's already part of you. The air is cool, but it doesn't ask you to brace against it. It simply brushes over your arms like silk left out to soften in the wind. You open your eyes and see everything as it is. The jar sits where it always has, open, quiet. The cloth has shifted slightly, not folded now, but resting loosely like clothing someone changed out of carefully and left behind. The little bird has fallen onto its side. You don't write it. Downstairs, the shop is empty, but the air smells faintly of saffron. Someone was cooking nearby, maybe even here, and now the scent has settled into the walls. You pause at the doorway, hand resting on the wood, and look out at a world that feels like it is finally finished speaking. There are no vendors calling, no children shouting, but the city is not silent. It is simply still and whole. You walk slowly through it, past a woman braiding her daughter's hair on a doorstep, past two men painting shutters the color of apricots, past a basket of pomegranates left unattended in the sun. You don't know where you're going, and that doesn't matter anymore. Everywhere is arrival now. You pass the square, not bustling, not bare, and someone calls your name. It's not a name you remember, but you turn your head and smile, because you know it's meant for you. The voice doesn't call again. You keep walking until you find yourself at the orchard's edge, beneath a tree that no longer leans. The earth here is rich and fragrant. A new sapling grows near the old fire ring. Someone has set stones around it, the beginnings of something. Not yours, but familiar. You sit by it, place your hand to the ground, and then the warmth of that soil, something shifts inside you. Not a memory, not a truth, but the quiet joy of having nothing left to prove, no edges left to hold, no story left to finish. You stay until the breeze returns. It carries no message. You walk back, slowly, thoughtfully, with the weightless grace of someone who has done what they came to do, even if they never knew what it was. When you reach the room again, the mat feels softer than before. The jar is empty, completely. The cloth has curled like a leaf drying in the sun. The bird has not moved. You lie down, not with purpose, not with meaning,
just because it is the last motion you feel called to make. You close your eyes, and nothing follows. No voice, no wondering, no tomorrow.